Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. Brought to you by Blue Sky Business Consulting. We discuss 5 questions in about 15 minutes. Hello, and welcome again to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. I'm excited to welcome our guest. He is all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii. This is Amos Balongo, and he is the CEO of Leader Compass Consulting Group. And I'm very jealous because he's in Honolulu, and of course, we got to share the phrase here, Amos. What is it? We're down in Honolulu today. What is it?
80 degrees and sunny.
80 degrees and sunny. I'm convinced that that's going to be the title of the episode here, because that is just the way it is. This is going to be a fun episode here. I'm really excited to talk to you and to share your enthusiasm for everything leadership and everything that is Hawaii. I think that's awesome. So, Amos, tell us a little bit more about the Leader Compass Consulting Group, what you do and how you help people.
Yeah. The Leader Compass Consulting Group was actually founded as a result of shifting from a management way of looking at things to a leadership way of looking at things. I first started out as a management consultant, and later on in my career realized that, there's more to just getting people to hit targets and manage processes and systems, but adding value to people. When you do that and you lead people well, they take care of the systems and they take care of the processes. So we're a leadership consulting group that focuses on adding value to people and really growing leaders. So I always say we are in the manufacturing business because we manufacture leaders.
Oh, I like that. That's a great way to look at it. That's fantastic. Well, that's part of the reason why you're on the podcast, obviously, is to share some of your expertise and wisdom when it comes to leadership and teams. So I'm excited. Thank you very much again for taking time to be with us. Let's go ahead and get started with our questions then. Amos, occasionally it does happen where a leader or their team or the whole group, even the whole company, can fall into a little bit of a lull. What can leaders do to infuse some energy into their teams?
Okay. That's a good question. And this question for me, as I kind of think through it, I look at it as a momentum question. And by that, I mean that, by the time your group is getting into a lull, it means that a few things went wrong along the way. So as leaders, what we need to be looking at, what is the momentum that we have? And what do we need to do to keep the momentum? So as you build a team, as you run a team, you should be looking at those checkpoints or those waypoints to see, at this point I need to infuse leadership. At this point I need to add value to people. At this point I need to make sure that my momentum is going from maybe 80 to 70 or to 60. What do I need to do to add that momentum? And this means that you really have to understand your team. Yes. So that by the time, I always say that what destroys you is what blindsides you. So by the time you're realizing and your team's realizing that the momentum has slowed down, you've already been blindsided. Mm-hmm. So you have to be proactive. So I'd call this proactive leadership. You have to see before others see, and you have to keep that momentum going, because it's very, very hard to create momentum and it's very, very easy to lose it. Now, I always advise leaders, have your checkpoints and make sure that you're checking in and ensuring that the momentum is running, knowing your teams, knowing your players, knowing when they need a hand up, knowing when they need time off to be able to rest and continue. And so momentum, and it's an ongoing thing. And it's like the air we breathe. We have to keep it up all the time to get where we're going. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. And I really liked what you said in the middle there when you said that leaders need to be able to see before others see. And what a great way to think about leadership and the importance of leadership is for leaders to think about it that way, that, hey, I need to be able to see if momentum is shifting, especially if it's a downward trend, and then have the tools and the resources ready to respond to that. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it. All right. Well, question number 2, what can leaders do to promote learning in their team or their company?
Okay. The word that comes to me here is teachability. And in this day and age, business and the world is moving so fast that we all have to be lifelong learners. I speak all over the world and I run, seminars and workshops, really all over the world now. And a lot of times I run into people who are trying to fix something because, hey, I'm going to send my people to a seminar because I need them to learn something. But I'm a true believer in that the learning culture has to be cultivated within your organization. I want to ask my team, what did we learn today? How did we fail? And how are we growing? Because it's through failure that we're going to be learning. So the learning culture has to be a culture where failure is accepted and learning from your failures is something that is encouraged. And also being able to reflect and see how we move the organization forward, because every day we're either learning or we are not. I like to use a phrase, we're either growing or we're dying.
Right.
So if we're not learning, what are we doing? We're falling behind. you know and I like to use a banana as an analogy. If you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotting. You got to make sure your team's always green, and we're always learning, and we're always creating that environment for people to learn. But at the heart of learning for me is an environment where people are allowed to experiment and to make mistakes and learn from their mistakes.
I really like that because that's a unique way of thinking about promoting learning, is to create a space in which people can learn through failure, because it does happen through a mistake or an error in judgment, whatever it may be. I really like that approach. I think that's a very valuable piece of information for leaders to consider, is how to create that environment where learning is acceptable, even if it's in the form of something not going right. I love that. Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
Question number 3. What is one tip that you have for effective delegation?
All right. Most times leaders look at delegation, and many people look at delegation as, I'm going to give you something that I don't want to do so that you can do it. Now, I look at delegation as, I need to be doing the things that no one else can do in the organization. And that way, because if I am doing, and maybe to backtrack a little bit, is like, I love to do these things. And so I'm going to hold on to the things I love to do. And then the things that I don't really like to do, I'm going to delegate them to my team. But that approach means that your team is not growing because you're holding on to the things you're good at. So effective delegation for me, the first point is the things that you can do, you want to be able to do them. The things you cannot do, others are good at, you want to delegate that. It also comes down to, how do you build your team? You want to have a team of people that complement you. I have certain weaknesses. So when we look at my team, it's comprised of people that will complement me in the areas that I'm weak. So when I'm delegating the areas that I know that I'm not strong at, and doing the things that I'm good at. Now, if you delegate, you also have to have the responsibility to coach and to develop, because I can't just delegate something to you and say, hey, you know what, take it and run with it. Let me know how you make out. I delegate, and you have to be able to equip and empower those people to make the decisions. Because if I delegate something, but my team has to run to me each time before they make any decision, then I have not empowered them.
Yes.
So delegation means looking at, who's the best person in the team to do this? If I'm delegating it to them, am I equipping them? Am I empowering them? And am I giving them the tools that they need to be able to be successful? And that's kind of what makes an effective way of delegating.
Oh, I love that. It's I use the phrase strengths-based approach to it, because that's what you were just describing, is those complementary pieces that we say, hey, I'm not as strong here, but I've got a whole team of people, and this person, they are good at it. And so what a great way to delegate, because now everybody is operating within their strengths and within the areas that they really enjoy contributing. And that really is a big difference between just giving away the stuff that you don't want to do. I love that. Great approach.
Absolutely.
All right. Question number 4. How do leaders effectively communicate concepts and principles like the vision and the values and the mission and so forth of the company or the team? How can they effectively communicate that?
All right. At the heart of leadership is your ability to be able to communicate.
Mhm.
And communication, which is something I feel so passionate about, and I've become a lifelong learner of communication. It really comes down to, has your message been received? If I look at a vision and a mission statement of an organization, and if I cannot articulate that mission to a fourth grader, then we have a problem. And the reason is, the power is in the simplicity of it, because already life is so complex as it is. So as a leader, when you're communicating your vision, your mission, your strategies, you need to ask yourself, how simple am I making this so that my team can understand it? And the truth is, if it's complex, they'll just yes you, but they don't really get it.
They don't embrace it. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
They have to do the heavy lifting of executing it. So as a leader, you have to make sure that they understand it. You have to break it down in a way that they get it, and you have to make sure they receive it. Otherwise, it's the message is not connecting, if I will. Yeah, you're communicating all right, but there's no connection there. You're shooting those hoops. I know you talked about baseball in the pre-call, but yeah, you're shooting the basketball hoops, but they're just not, you're shooting the ball, but the ball's just not going through the
Not
hoops.
going in.
So there's a lot of people out there shooting hoops, but shooting the ball, but it's not going through the hoops.
Not
You
working.
got to ask yourself, have I connected? Have they received it? And once they receive it, what are the next steps for them to actualize it? Because otherwise, they receive it and then you don't give them the next steps. Well, they just received it. So you got to follow it through. And it's all in the simplicity of it.
Oh, I love that. And I want to highlight something you said right towards the end there. Once they've received it, they have to actualize it. That's such a critical piece. It can't just be, okay, I know what it means and I can regurgitate it. It's
Yeah.
how does it actualize in what I do every day? That is such a key component to effectively communicating that. I love that you brought that up. All right, our last question, the fun question. Tell us a baseball story.
Baseball story. And I don't play baseball. I don't know much about baseball, but I know the baseball fans are very loyal to their teams.
Yes.
Now, I lived in Boston for a while, and I've been to the Boston Red Sox. I believe it's the Red Sox
Yes.
or them. But the one thing that I can say about my baseball story is that each time I've tried to watch a baseball game, I don't know the rules. It takes so long, but I have to tell you, I've never seen that kind of loyalty in a sport, and that shows me that that's a great leadership lesson right there. You know, because if you can get people to sit down in stadiums for hours at a time to watch folks play the game, then you've been able to at least motivate them, you know, inspire them. I don't know about the transformation piece, but at least you've gotten them into the room. And
Yes.
and yeah, so that's my baseball thing. But
I
I
love it.
guess I need to learn. Maybe you can teach me a few things about baseball, but
Always
to do
happy to do that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Baseball it's a great sport, very loyal fans, and they will sit through what is they've done some things to quicken the game up, but there's no question that it's a slower game. It really is a pastime. It is something that it generates slow building drama. I
Right.
love no hitters because as the innings get along, seventh, eighth, ninth inning, still got a no hitter, still got a no hitter. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And so there's some slow building drama that's really a lot of fun. But yeah, other than that, it's the American pastime. So, but I love that you've picked up some leadership principles from that. So that's great.
And if you want to learn patience as a leader, then go hang out at a baseball game.
There you go. Yeah, that'll test the patience, won't it? Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This has been great, Amos. Thank you so much for taking time to share with us some of the fun things about Honolulu, as well as some of your expertise and wisdom about leadership and teams. It's been great. Tell us how people can get a hold of you.
All right. Best way to get a hold of me is my website, amosbalongo.com. Here you can figure out, if you want to have me speak at the event, My podcast is also on my main website. My podcast is called Journeys of Inspiration, which is really short messages weekly to inspire leaders to be able to grow and focus more on the journey and not the destination. And it's very growth focused versus goal focused. And yeah, so amosbalongo.com, and the podcast is Journeys of Inspiration. And I hope I can inspire and motivate, inspire and transform some of the folks. And Shawn, thank you for the time, and I hope to see you in Honolulu. It's always 80 degrees and sunny, my friend.
80 degrees and sunny. I got to get there because that's not the case here in Utah. It's not always 80 degrees and sunny. So, but anyway, that's awesome. Thank you, Amos. And thanks to all of you who are joining us every week at the Team Engagement Podcast. We appreciate you watching or listening or downloading. Either way, we appreciate your support. So tune in again next week for more ideas on how to lead teams. And don't forget to pick up your copy of Rapid Fire Leadership, which is available at Amazon.com. And you can get more information on how to lead teams better. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Have a great day. This is Shawn Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, go to teamengagementpodcast.com. We also invite you to follow or subscribe to our podcast wherever you may be listening or watching. Is your business thriving? Go to tbs-score.com to find out. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.